I'm going to share with you my favorite psychology question that will help you unfuse with your painful thoughts that might be causing you depression, anxiety, or just general discomfort in your life. And so we know that cognitive fusion is real. Cognitive fusion means that most of us feel that our thoughts are accurate representations of reality. Essentially, we have this sensation that we're taking all of reality in and there's no like filter there, and we're just like, those are our thoughts, and we perceive everything very accurately. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately actually, psychological research shows that we are very poor at perceiving reality, and that most of our thoughts are not accurate representations of reality. And for most individuals, they're actually causing themselves more pain than is necessary. Essentially, that their thoughts are more painful than what reality actually is. So they're seeing more of the negative than is actually existing in reality. And so one of my favorite questions to ask myself when I'm really like anxious or down or just like, like stuck, right, in kind of those thought patterns, those thinking cycles that are causing me more pain than is necessary, is to ask myself, who would I be without this thought? And so obviously the first step here is to identify the thought that you're thinking. And for a lot of individuals, the thought is typically something along the lines of, they don't love me, or I'm not good enough. So it's one of those two, probably some type of alternation of one of those two. And so if you consider they don't love me, and you consider who would I be without that thought? For most of us, well, we would be happy. We would feel loved without the thought that they don't love me. And again, I'm not good enough. Who would you be without that thought? Well, you might be confident and you might be happy without that thought. And so obviously this is a little bit simplistic, but it's important to realize that we are causing a lot of our own suffering, and it's not necessarily a true representation of reality. There's typically evidence on both sides. So there's evidence that you are good enough. There's evidence that you aren't good enough. But unfortunately, the brain is so good at seeing all of the evidence that you aren't good enough. And so it's so crucial to realize that by thinking this way, by filtering the reality this way, you are creating more pain than is necessary in your own mind. And so, really the journey is to kind of let that thought go. Obviously that's easier said than done, and oftentimes that requires therapy or some type of coaching. But it's important to realize that if you are able to separate yourself from the thought, that is often the first step in letting go a lot of this pain, to realize that this is just a thought and that you are able to kind of unfuse from this thought, and that if you were able to unfuse from it, you would experience significantly less pain. All right, let me know if this makes sense and you have questions, and if this is at all helpful. I feel like this video is a little bit rambling.